What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. My name is the Kawasaki Crusader, and this is my 2010 ZX10R. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about myself and this bike, and starting off with myself. I'm 28 years young. I've been riding 3.5, almost 4 years, depending on the way that you look at it. And this is my 4th bike now since I started riding. Now, I didn't get a new one every year, nothing crazy like that. I actually started out on a 2003 Ninja 250R. That bike was not a bad bike to learn on. I'm not a very big guy. I'm 5'5", 5'6", somewhere around there. And for me, that bike had plenty of power to learn on. I bought it used, obviously. It was torn up. It actually didn't even run when I bought it. I bought it from a friend that had had it in his garage for a couple years, and he sold it to me for about 500 bucks. I had to put a new gas tank on it, pull the carburetor off, rebuild the carburetor, and put it all back together just to get it to fire up, which wasn't really too bad. I rode that bike for 5 or 6 months, which is why I say 3.5 to 4 years, depending on how you look at it. That bike was nowhere near street legal. I never took it out on the main road. I took it out on back roads by my home and stayed in my neighborhood in Springfield, Missouri, where I lived at the time. And that's how I started. I actually traded that bike to a kid who turned it into a little stunt bike. I traded it for 250 bucks, a PlayStation 4, and a bunch of video games. Pretty fair trade if you ask me. So I didn't have a bike after that until the following tax season, when I actually purchased a 2003 Kawasaki ZX10R. That bike was amazing. Had just under 20,000 miles when I bought it, and it had every modification that I would have done other than a power commander. It did not have a tuner, which it should have, because it had an aftermarket exhaust. The bike was already lowered. It was painted black, which happens to be my favorite color. Had a little bit of red accent, which I had a problem with at first, but eventually kind of adapted to my own liking. So that bike, it was amazing. I got just almost 40,000 miles on it in the time that I had it, the 3 years that I rode it, and took great care of it. I had the valves done on time. I changed the oil very regularly. I did the chain on it. I mean, anything you can really think of for regular maintenance, I did. I didn't do fork seals because it didn't need it until I was getting ready to get rid of it. So I sold that bike not even 2 months ago and purchased a 2007 ZX10R, which was my 3rd bike. And I loved that thing. I had that bike not even 5 days though, and then it was stolen. I had it on the front porch of my apartment, and somebody took their time about 3:30, 4 in the morning to weasel their way up there and take off with it. So that's a whole nother story. Let me know if you want to hear it. I can get into that pretty good detail. It's kind of interesting, really, so I might do a video anyway. But being as that was less than 2 months ago, I had to fight with insurance for a while. It was about a month before they would even let me try to do anything, and then by the time everything was said and done and paper was processed, I didn't end up getting to get another bike until a few days ago. It's winter where I am. It should be starting to snow any day now, and I don't particularly care for the snow, but since I lost so much seat time from that jerk stealing my bike, I'm gonna ride it any day that there's not ice on the ground or rain coming down. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's talk about this beautiful bike. I've named it Wraith. I like that name a lot. I think it's very fitting for this bike. I love it. Let's go over the damage. I can see right off the bat I got like a little crack here. This is pretty bad damage actually, but if I can get my hand in there, I'm just gonna kind of pop it out, and then I'll get that clear paint protective film that you always see on nice cars applied to it at a local shop. So there's that. It's the only front end damage that I was able to see, other than the scuffs on the mirrors from it moving in and out. There is some damage right there you can see, and right here also, and that matches the damage on the other side. That wasn't like it when I first picked it up, but it was like that by the time I got it home, because I drove from Topeka, Kansas to Midwest, Missouri, and it was on a trailer. It was on a U-Haul trailer with ratchet straps. I didn't have canyon dancers, so that's my fault that damage is there. Hopefully it can buff out, or maybe some paint correction or a clay bar, or who knows, I think it's fixable though. Anyhow, moving on, there's a little nick right there you can see, and it matches those little scuffs that you can see on the fairing and on the cover. I think that's not the clutch cover, I think that's the stator cover. Yeah, anyhow, Golly, you'd think I'd never owned a bike before by the time it took me to say that. Anyhow, there's a little scuff right there on the swing arm. I think that's just from shoes rubbing against it over the time. It's pretty smooth. Not sure, but you know, I'm not concerned about it. So there's a few scratches right here. I think those will probably buff out or pretty close to it. I don't know what that's from. It was like that when I did get it. And you can see that the fender has been removed with the turn signals. It does have an integrated turn signal tail light, and the plate was moved down here to a swing arm mount, which is illegal in Missouri, so I'll have to change that soon enough. I get pulled over enough as it is. The back tire is pretty bald in the middle. I don't think this guy was a very aggressive rider because it had more chicken strip than that when I first got it, and I've only ridden it a few times now, unfortunately. But the tire will get replaced next season. I'm gonna use it as is until either it gets dangerous and I have to park the bike, or until, you know, wire starts to show. I don't care. On this side, not a whole lot of damage is what you'd think from the look of it here, but once you start looking a little lower, you can see that big old son of a gun there. That was not mentioned to me before purchasing the bike. I did not look at that whenever I was purchasing the bike because I had to drive so far to get to it, and it was raining and dark outside by the time I got there. So I test rode it in the rain. It rode fine. It shifted through all the gears fine. It stopped fine. It didn't have any weird sounds. From what I could see in the covered area that I eventually got it to, it wasn't smoking or anything, and that still holds to be evident, but there is cosmetic damage. So I don't know what to do about that, and I don't think that can be buffed out. I might have to have it repainted, or even just replace it and have the new piece painted if it doesn't come pre-painted. It sat in his shed. He said he hadn't ridden it in a month, and he was the original owner. He bought it from factory off the showroom floor, and the only thing he changed on it was that integrated tail light, the chain, and that swing arm license plate mount. That's it. With that being said, you know, the 2007 I had was very low mileage, 8,500 miles if I remember correctly. I do have a couple pictures of that bike I can post up, and will post up eventually. I'm still new to this. I don't know how to edit videos or anything like that, but this bike really fit well with that because it only has 7,518 miles on it. I'm pretty sure you can see that from there. It starts up like a dream. Even when it's cold, first thing in the morning, it fires up just like that. It's pretty quiet. I don't know if you'll pick it up in the video how quiet it is. I think all bikes kind of sound similar in videos, but that big muffler makes it whisper. Got a little bit louder there at the end, but you can tell it's a quiet bike. Another little dent there on the tank. I mean, it's got its share of bumps and bruises, but overall I think this is a really nice bike. The next few videos that you see of me will be me riding it. I do have a face mount for this GoPro. I need to get a microphone for it. If you have any suggestions, you know, comment the link below. That'd help me. It's a GoPro Hero 5 black, and I don't know, I haven't even really done any research to find a microphone for it yet, but I don't know if I'll need one or not. Eventually I figure I will. So that's the bike modifications I'm gonna do. I'm short, so I'm gonna lower this bike down. The guy that I bought it from was 6'4", 6'5", so a whole foot taller than me, and he rode it fine, but I tiptoe, so I'm gonna have it lowered maybe 1.5 inches. I'm going to change the levers because I don't like long stock levers like that. Although very functional and work really, really well, they are hideous, and I like the short levers. I like the style of them. I know I have to have a little bit longer than the shorty ones I'm used to using because of how far the handlebars go out and everything, but I think that I can do that just fine. I want to get some shorter mirrors because, you know, looking at it from the front, it looks kind of funny with those mirrors sticking out like that, but I need mirrors. I use mirrors. I don't want little block offs or bar ends. I need to be able to see what's going on behind me. I'm gonna do a custom exhaust and a power commander. I might not do the power commander. I'm gonna do some sort of tuner though. My mechanic recommends a different brand, and he is the smartest mechanic I've ever met, so I'm not going to question his logic, as I have done in the past, and, you know, proved myself to be wasting time second guessing the man. So I'll do that. I'm gonna do frame sliders. I will probably keep these bar ends because they don't look bad. I'll paint them. I mean, they're scratched up, so I'll paint them. But really, other than that, that's all I can think of that I want to do. I might change out the headlights if I keep it forever and ever and ever, and do those really cool bajillion dollar sets that change colors and all that. I thought about doing a Hayabusa front wheel fairing cover, this piece here, the nose. I thought about changing that out to a Hayabusa one because they apparently improves your aerodynamics by quite a bit. And I do have a front and rear racing stand, so I'm gonna have to get those little mounts that go there. I thought about taking the stickers off. The chrome looks really, really cool, but I like a clean bike. I like a bike that, you know, stands out because it looks nice and everything. I don't think it needs all the chrome touch, and I really don't want to accent the entire bike in chrome. So whenever I start changing color, whether I do blue or red or whatever, at that time I'll either change the chrome or remove the chrome completely and not do anything. Something I forgot to mention earlier, it does come factory with an Olin steering damper, which is an amazing brand, an amazing company, but this one is broken. I don't know if it's giving me any resistance or not like it's supposed to, but this knob will not click. It does not push in or pull out. There's a little thing on the end here that kind of pushes in a little, but I don't think that has anything to do with anything. I can't get it to adjust, so I can't use it. I will replace it. Even the $40 ones off of Amazon work stupid good whenever you put it on the stock mount. I had one on the 07 before it got stolen, and it was phenomenal. So I'll probably buy a black one and replace that, unless somebody can tell me how to fix it. But anyhow, here you have it. This is the 2010 ZX10R. This is the bike that you're gonna see me riding. So if you could, you know, if you like what you saw, subscribe, throw me a like, and if not, then leave me a comment, give me some options and things that you should, or I should improve. So anyhow, here's my first cringy video. Like I said, give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, and have a great day.